Mainstream sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome in to another edition of the Football Friday show here on the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Emerging Investigations, Emerging INV, and the good folks at the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. And another sponsor we now have, partner, Red Vanley. You notice the new shirt, new shorts?
I do. You're looking a little stylish this morning.
This stuff is the fabric on this, not to be, all about it, but touch that. There you go. Ooh, this fabric, I don't know what it is, but thank you to Red Vanley for now outfitting us. I guess I got to get you some stuff now, too.
Yeah, you do, because I see a round of 18 in my future and some of that.
We'll definitely make that happen. No question about it. Welcome into the JP Peterson Show. We got lots to get to today. There's a lot of breaking news on the USF coaching front, so we're going to get to some of that as well. We've got we're going to preview the Saints and the Bucs, even though that's happening on Monday. Interesting Thursday night football game last night. So that was kind of cool to watch the under come in.
Was it cool to watch?
It was really kind of cool to watch the under come in.
Yeah, that's about the only thing that was appealing about that broadcast last night.
I mean, we're week 11 now? Can we say that the prime broadcast just feels like a high school game for some reason, even though it's Al Michaels? A very uninspired Al Michaels, by the way. Like, even with a good game last night, not that it was dramatic or entertaining in any way. It's weird. It just doesn't feel like an NFL game.
No,
the crowd sound has been muted all year long. They haven't fixed that. It's just weird.
At one point, I literally was on my phone for maybe 3 or 5 minutes, and I looked up and I was like, "There's an NFL game going on in front of me right now." You wouldn't know it. There's no noise. It's just random Al Michaels going, and that one's incomplete.
Yeah,
and that was it. It was just very monotone.
And then of course Sherp Street, is just very.
He's not an NFL guy.
He's just very deliberate. It's almost like he doesn't feel like he belongs. You know what I'm saying?
No, he's a college guy. We've seen him for 25 years on college.
And it feels like, I really don't belong here. I'm just kind of trying to be nice to everybody while I'm here in the NFL. And, he's a great broadcaster. Don't get me wrong. But I just get that vibe, right? It's like you can't be that. You got to be, football, bro. Just got to jump in there. You've known these players. You know most of these players better than the NFL guys know them, to be honest. So I just think he needs a little bit more confidence, a little bit more swag in what he's doing. But that's that game. We got a lot to get to. Bobby the Chief Taylor is going to join us at 10:30, and we're going to celebrate Steven Stamkos. 1,000 points last night on the assist to Nick Paul, and the whole team came out and congratulated him. And the Philly fans were booing, "What are you doing up?" And they finally flashed it up on the scoreboard to let them know, and then they got it. So no worries there. But we all saw it coming. Obviously, this was nothing new, but there was a point, 3 or 4 years ago where he was just battling all those core injuries, the broken leg, everything seemed to happen at the most inopportune time. And, this is just a classic case of great leadership, perseverance, sticking with it. And here is a guy that's now 32, 33 years old, eclipsing these milestones that certainly solidify his Hall of Fame resume without question. 2 cups, 2 Rocket Richards, a 60-goal season, 1,000 points, soon to be 500 goals. I mean, it's a no-brainer. He's a first ballot. It's not even a question. And he's far from done. He is far from done. I mean, you look at some of these other players now that are playing into their 36s and 37s and 38s and being very effective. Look at Ovechkin. Look at so many of these guys that are and nobody takes care of his body better than Steven Stamkos. He seems to be on the other side of all of those injuries. So there was a time where we were all like, "Man, this freaking contract is an albatross. How are we going to just keep going with this?" And it just was turning into a Vinny Lecavalier situation. But boy, has it turned. Boy, has it turned. The captain is playing perhaps his best hockey of his career. And it's phenomenal to watch.
Yeah, as I've said before, I've had some good takes I like to think on this show in my time here, but I have had one super awful take that stands out, and that is when last year I said that Steven Stamkos, to me, was going to be a third-line player.
You did say that.
I did say that.
You did say that.
A third-line player. I said it. I admit it. And then he followed that up with the best season of his career, arguably, and now is the 4th fastest active player to reach 1,000 points in the NHL behind Sidney Crosby, Evgeny Malkin, and Alex Ovechkin. Heard of them before?
I've heard of all of those guys.
Yeah.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just at first blush, do you think Stamkos's name belongs in that? Well, I should say from a national perspective. Would you think everybody would say, "Oh, Stamkos belongs with those guys"?
I don't think he's ever really been put in that
I
conversation
agree.
as much.
I agree.
I don't
Why
know.
not?
I don't know if it's because Crosby and Malkin play in Pittsburgh,
That's
big
exactly
hockey
why it
town.
is, yes.
Ovechkin playing in Washington, Patrick Kane playing in Chicago. But to me, you could throw Patrice Bergeron in there. Those 6 guys are almost like the pillars of like that like kind of mid 2000s generation that's still playing really well into the late 30s.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, he got 1,000 points faster than Patrick Kane did. And Patrick came into the league in 2007, and Stamkos came in 2008. And his rookie season was kind of a wash at times. I mean, so think about that. He was fat, and we all put Patrick Kane on a pedestal, and rightfully so.
Exactly.
But Stamkos, objectively, might have had a better career, and he's done it with a lot of injuries in there.
Exactly. And he's done it with a non-traditional team. I mean, I don't want to say it's easier to do it in Pittsburgh, but you have an organization that was used to winning cups and playing at elite level. You can say, yes, the Lightning won a cup in 04. We all know that. But this run really has been unprecedented in the modern era. You 3 cup finals in a row since the salary cap and everything it has been implemented. I don't think anybody's been to 3 conference finals in a row except the Tampa Bay Lightning, captained by one Steven Stamkos, and won 2 of them and came within a game of winning a 3rd in a row. I mean, his resume, I would argue, is better than almost all of those guys, except maybe Crosby in terms of the MVPs, etc.
I'd still put Ovechkin over because he did get the 1 cup, and he's going to probably break the all-time goal scoring record by the time it's all said and done, which is a record that nobody thought would ever be beat. And it's harder to score goals in this day and age than it was in yesteryear.
But good points all. But doesn't it count that for 14 years he couldn't get it done for a long, long time? And they're playoff team. I get it. But there was always a narrative that Ovechkin is not a great leader. He's a selfish player. There was that was a long narrative until he finally got to it. And I would say Stamkos has never been accused of any of that. And his teams have won more consistently and won more than Ovechkin's. I'm not saying Stamkos is better than Ovechkin, but I'm saying it's closer than the experts think. If you look from my definition of greatness.
Well, injuries to me robbed of Stamkos of where he probably would have been in the all-time goal scoring ranking.
Yeah.
Injuries robbed him. He's lost almost nearly 2 full seasons when you combine them all.
Yeah.
And you have to take into fact that the years after those injuries came, he just wasn't nearly as dynamic as he was pre-injury when he was scoring. I mean, he scored 60 goals in his 3rd year in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And he won the Rocket Richard Trophy his 2nd year in the league. We don't know what a lot of his career could have been, honestly.
Right.
It's still a little bit of what if, but what is he sitting on right now? He's getting close to 500 goals.
Yeah.
This guy is still going to finish north of 600 goals likely for his career.
Easy.
And that's a hell of a career.
If he stays healthy. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I clearly first ballot Hall of Famer, clearly needs a statue out in front of Amalie Arena.
Right next to Dave.
Clearly is just as good as it gets. And is what a professional and a tremendous leader.
And by the way, somebody that I appreciate even more, because in 2016, he could have gone home to Toronto and nobody would have blamed him, but he chose to stay here in Tampa Bay. One of the first athletes that I think is open. I think he is a big reason why a lot of athletes have decided to come to this market, because he kind of set the tone in 2016 as one of the first to do it and saw what was being built here. And he could have took the easy way out and gone to Toronto, but he didn't because he believed in this community. I commend him for that still to this day.
I have said this for a long, long time, that exact point. And because I remember it well when we were going through this with Toronto, and they were throwing all this money at him, It was, I think they offered him, the reports were $12 to $13 million.
He would have been the highest paid player in the league.
Yeah, easy. I mean, and everybody was like, "Oh, this is a done deal. He's not staying in. Why the hell would he stay in Tampa Bay?" And blah 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 blah. And Yzerman, sat him down and put the numbers in front of him and said, "Look, this is what you're going to pay in Canadian taxes. This is what you're going to put. This is the cost of living in Toronto. This is this. This is this. We're actually offering you more money." And I think it was an 8.75 AAV. Mm-hmm. You're going to take home more money here staying in Tampa. You're going to be with a better team. And then Dave Andreychuk sat him down and said, "Dude, I played in Toronto. You don't want any part of that. You living in Tampa Bay is you will enjoy your quality of life so much more. You can't go to the mall up there. You can't go to the gas station without getting mobbed by fans. Yep. Everywhere you go, you will not be able to breathe. It will be suffocating for you in Toronto. I'm paraphrasing here. And, to his credit, he was like, why would I leave here? Why would look what I have here? Look what my quality. It's a 5-minute drive with no traffic on Davis Island Boulevard to the arena, and I get to go over a bridge and water everywhere. And, the weather is fantastic. I love to play golf. This is a great franchise. I take home more money. People don't mess with me here. I mean, Stamkos can go anywhere in Tampa Bay, and so a couple of people might come up for pictures, but it's not. Yeah, it's not unworkable like it would have been in Toronto. So you got to really credit him for making a very, very mature decision, and that did set the tone for the Lightning, and I think for other players and other athletes to follow suit. And so much so that a guy by the name of Brady said, you know what, if it's good for the elite hockey players in this. And why isn't it good for me? These guys love living here. These pro athletes love living in Tampa Bay. I got to check this out. And Brady comes here, and the Tampa Bay chapter was born. So yeah, it all started with Steven Stamkos in my mind in terms of that whole mentality. By the way, do we have the call last night from Dave, Michigan?
Yeah, let me cue up the Dave call here from last night.
We're gonna talk more about this with Chief coming up at 10:30. I want to get to the USF stuff and some Bucs stuff as well. So a lot of breaking news on this day. But we try in our first 30 to 40 minutes to go commercial free and kind of hit on all the big stories. So we'll hit this just for a little bit and move on to the USF stuff, which is very interesting.
Circle Killorn. It's Killorn to the right circle. Warren makes his way right point, tucks it for Stamkos right corner. Cross ice, Ian Cole left corner, center feet, score! It went in! .1000 for Steven Stamkos! Ian Cole threw it in front. Nick Paul might have deflected that or it went in off hard, but Stamkos gets an assist, and the Lightning storm off the bench to congratulate their captain. 1,000 points for Steven Stamkos.
There it is. What a monumental accomplishment and occasion right there, marked by the great Dave Mishkin on Lightning Radio on 102.5 The Bone. Thank you very much for that. And Saturday night they're going to have a very special presentation for him, so the fans can celebrate.
I heard his parents are going to be in town, I believe, for that, and his family, because I think they wanted to come up here on this trip to get it done. Yeah. They wanted to come up on this trip, I guess, to get it done. And he was very superstitious, no, let's wait till I come back home and all that. We'll do something special. So it's going to be great. And I love the embrace, by the way, that he and Victor Hedman had in the middle of that pile. And then later in the locker room, because those two guys came at a point where this franchise was at its lowest there in 2008, 2009, where wasn't there talk of moving the franchise during that time? Or there was scuttlebutt about it because attendance was really low. The team was really bad.
I don't think they were ever, but there was talk, there was chatter.
Yeah. But, point is, they were in a low place, and those two guys came in and have just totally transformed this franchise.
No question about it. And Stammer, his leadership too, and the way he's grown as a leader, I think is something else that is really, I think, part of the whole process for the Bolts. He when he came in, he was seen Stamkos. He was everything, and it was a little rocky early on for him with the great Barry Melrose. It didn't go so well.
No,
but when he found his footing, he just and he wasn't maybe the leader. How can you be a leader of 35-year-old men when you're 20,
he walked into Marty St. Louis and Vinny Lecavallier's locker room.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's really, really hard. But the way he's taken over that locker room and set the example, the work ethic, the character, everything that goes along with it, you got to have that guy. Your best player has got to be that guy. And he has been for a long time and will continue to be. There's just not enough bouquets that we can throw to Steven Stamkos. There just aren't. There just aren't.
And I'm glad we're doing it, because I feel like once these guys get older, we start to appreciate them a little bit more.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And I'm glad that we've been able to do that with Steven Stamkos, because I think for my money, and Marty was great and Vinny was great, and there's been so many great players in this franchise's history. I think this is number one. Yeah. I think this is number one. Maybe Nikita Kucherov will have something to say about that, but by the time he's done with his game. But for right now, Steven Stamkos to me is the heart and soul of this franchise.
And I don't know, you might be through your magic be able to find the goal in the 20 Cup where the only 2 minutes and 36 seconds that he played. I mean, can you seriously make that story up? I mean, as we say, I get chills now just thinking about it. I mean, let's think about that. The dude rehabbed for what? I don't know, 4 months, 3 months, and he was trying to get back into play. And the Lightning are in the playoffs, and it's like, is Campbell's going to come back? And we're hearing, he's skating well. He's going to be able to play. He's going to be able to play. And we're like, okay, that's great. We're going to, but how much is he really going to give us? And he comes on the ice for what? 2 minutes and 36 seconds total. I think of that. That's what it was. He came out and did a first shift. And I believe this was his second shift and his last shift of those playoffs. And he goes out and it was, I remember watching it. And because it was in an empty stadium, right?
Yeah, yep.
I remember watching it and the slap, and then and you realize that he just scored, and you went, "Did that just really happen? Did that just really happen? I mean, come on, that's not real. That didn't happen." And you know what? It happened. Is this the one?
Yep.
Let's see. Hopefully this is Mish on the call, but we don't know.
I don't believe it's Mish.
We're doing a seat of our pants. Yeah, this is NBC Sports Network.
Yeah, but
it's collared by the Lightning and sent back ahead and escaping back up the wing is Stamkos. He scores!
Look at the joy on their faces.
My goodness!
Oh,
Right
my
out of a
goodness.
storybook, and it's 2-0.
I mean, come on.
I got chills. I got chills just hearing Doc call because that was. I think that was Doc's last final too.
I'll listen to that again. If you really want to recue that, I will listen to that again. Oh my, what a storybook, right?
Collared by the Lightning and sent back ahead and escaping back up the wing is Stamkos. He scores! My goodness! Right out of a storybook, and it's 2-0.
And that's piped in crowd noise.
Yeah, that was piped in crowd noise as well. What a time!
His signature play has piped in crowd noise. Is that his signature play? For me, I mean, there's a lot of great ones. But to me,
it has to be that.
I mean, come on.
That moment to me, like as a fan, when I watched it, like you almost had like tears almost of like joy just seeing it because he deserved that because he always had the knock on him that he couldn't perform in big games.
Right.
And then he finally got that opportunity there. Like the Lightning going this run. That was game 3. It was tied 1-1 at the time in the series. And
they go up 2-0. It's a huge goal.
It was a huge
goal in the series.
And he tore something like on that play.
Yeah. When he jumped up and hit the. And
yeah. That's when he I think, no, he tore over here when he actually got that burst of speed.
Right.
Is when he tore whatever he did again. And still goes and scores.
You can't make it up.
No.
You can't. That's just. Sports is the greatest reality show in the world. I mean, to me, that moment is just like, are you freaking kidding me? Are you freaking kidding me? And a guy who's had such a star-crossed injury history to come back for 2 minutes and 36 seconds, I think it was, and score a huge goal in the series. I mean, wow. But that's seen Stamkos. Yeah, we've seen him. We've seen him going into the Hall of Fame. That's for damn sure. All right, we'll talk to Chief about that in just a second. All right, to the USF coaching search. And this is some very interesting things coming out. Kyle Berger yesterday coming out from ABC saying his sources telling him that Coach Prime was seen on campus on Tuesday, confirming my reports that I had earlier in the week. And now some very interesting developments. Jamie Chadwell, who everyone believed was going to USF, is now rumored to be headed to Liberty, as we talked about yesterday. Not a done deal yet. Not a done deal. Let me say that again. Not a done deal. But all chatter is now pointing towards Chadwell taking the job at Liberty, which I thought he might do because of the step up in money into another conference. And it's a very religious school, and that's a very, very big thing for Jamie Chadwell. And I believe he can – he really believes that he can transform a lot of kids' lives in that environment that's very supportive of his Christian beliefs. So if Chadwell's going to Liberty, and there's scuttlebutt out there now, at least last night, that Brian Hartline might be going to Cincinnati.
Well,
I don't know if you see anything on that.
I haven't, but I had the tweet from Brian Hartline where like late last night he tweeted like a long thing. and he said, my heart's at Ohio State and I'm not planning on going anywhere, go Bucs and all that. So it sounds like he probably has taken himself out of that running.
Okay. But I'd also heard that Cincinnati had moved on from Dion as well. Not, these are just Twitter reports from reporting sources, not just bots or bloggers out there. Not to discredit bloggers at all. That's not what I'm doing. But so it seems more and more likely that it's down to Colorado and USF and for Deion Sanders. And I texted with a couple more people this morning, and I can only characterize those texts as being wait and see. It's more of a not at this point, but wait and see. What about Deion? Wait and see. Can't tell you anything. Just wait and see. Deion has told his kids that he's going to be somewhere else on Sunday. The USF kids have been told they're going to be introduced to their coach on Sunday. Doesn't mean it's Deion, but not confirming it. But there's a lot of things that are lining up right now. Now, the Colorado people are also cocksure that he's going to Colorado, and obviously they have more money. They're in a Power 5 conference already. All of that works out. My counter to that is it's not his wheelhouse. The West Coast is not his wheelhouse. I don't think he would be comfortable there. It just doesn't make a whole lot of fit sense in terms of, where his recruiting ties are. And, Texas is a big recruiting area for Colorado too. Texas is right next to Colorado. I get that. And that's where he lived. But, I still think that his wheelhouse is in Florida, where he grew up, where he played college, where there's a lot of talent. And here's why the USF job to me is way more suitable than Colorado. Because Colorado is 1-11, right? They've been bad for a while. There's not a whole lot of talent there at all. And they have a full 85 scholarship roster. So to go in there and change that roster right away is going to be difficult. I've been told by my source in the Deion camp that one of the main priorities for Deion is his son Shedeur, and he wants his son to be able to come in right away and have success. And when you look at the roster at Colorado with the skill sets, especially the skill positions, plus that they're playing in a much tougher conference than what the USF is going to be. I mean, name the teams in this new AAC. I mean, it is a cupcake city.
Well, I think it's like Charlotte, Rice.
Do you have the new 20? See if you can find the 2022.
I'll pull up the official one, but I know it's like Charlotte, Rice, FAU coming in.
They open with FAMU, and then they got Alabama, and then it's on to the conference schedule. And it's if Shedeur were to come here, first of all, there's not an entrenched quarterback, and we know Byron Brown was freaking amazing. But I wouldn't necessarily call him an entrenched quarterback.
I don't have the they don't have the actual conference schedule out yet, but I can tell you that their out of conference is Western Kentucky.
I thought FAMU, yeah.
Florida A&M,
yep.
Alabama, and then UConn.
Okay, and then throw in Rice,
Charlotte, the FAUs of the world, and then the leftovers in the AAC right now.
Yeah, so this is a schedule and a level for Shedeur where he could come in and put up big numbers. I think immediately they're a 9 to 10 win team with the talent that Deion's going to bring with him in the transfer portal and everything else with this schedule. As opposed to Colorado, where you go there, you're going to be there. I don't know what their schedule is. I'm asking you to do a lot of stuff here, but this is great. But for the chances, I'm not saying Shedeur can't do it. I'm not saying he can't. I'm just saying it would be much more difficult to go into a P5 conference right away.
They're out of conference.
Oh my God.
Or their entire conference is here right now. So they start with TCU.
Okay.
And then they have Nebraska.
The playoff.
And then they have Nebraska after that. And you look Nebraska. Colorado State is their other out of conference. And then they still have to play USC, Oregon, UCLA, Utah.
Okay. All right.
And Oregon State.
So Shedeur jumping up to play Utah's defense. Let's just take Utah or TCU. I mean, do you think that there's a chance that he could be overwhelmed by that? Hell yes. And this is not a knock on Shedeur at all. And it's a big step up from Jackson State.
Well, I think
a huge step up.
I think even
USF is just a little step up.
It's still a step though.
Yeah,
I don't want to discount that by any means, but
much more manageable.
Yeah, it just to me it all comes down to money. I mean, that's the whole deal, right? And it's the whole big thing here. The question mark is, does USF have the money to pull this off?
Right.
Are the people going to really step up and try to
And-
get this done if they really want it?
Not to be dismissive here at all, but as important as Shador is to him, to Dion, money's a close second, if not first. And this is Prime saying it. I mean, Prime is like, he don't get out of bed in the morning unless somebody's paying. That's his quote.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'm not saying money's more important than his son.
I just know this. They need
that, but it's very much of a priority.
Yeah,
for him.
I just know this. This needs to be done definitely on Sunday. I know that's the deadline, but it really does because the portal is just going crazy right now. And we know Jimmy Horn's in the portal. I don't even know if we even mentioned that on the show. That's a big loss. And I already saw.
Remember, you get in the portal doesn't mean you're gone.
Well, he got an offer from Penn State, and that tells me he's going to get some even bigger ones. So
he is
because he's a Power 5 player, no doubt about it.
Well, if Dion comes here on Sunday, he's the first play. Probably maybe the first player he's going to seek out.
Perhaps we'll see, but
you're not going anywhere.
I mean, he's
James
in the portal.
Franklin is a good recruiter.
Yeah,
he really is.
He's in the portal. Antonio Greer, who started as a preseason All-American in the AAC, is in the portal. I just saw this morning, even the kicker, Spencer Strader, talented kicker, is in the portal. So
why
now,
wouldn't you be?
I mean, yeah, I don't blame them. They don't have a head coach, and they kind of, they have a deadline too. They got to act on right to get things going. So. They just need to be able to stop the bleeding and get a head coach in there. I'm just saying, though.
Again, those guys aren't gone. They're just in the portal.
Yes.
They're waiting to see who the new coach is and where
I guess the question is here that everybody wants to know. It's like, okay, well, if it's not Dion, because I'm still myself skeptic that it's going to happen. If not him, it's like, are we moving on to are we on option D? Are we on option F? Are we on E right now? Where are we at? Who are the names out to do? Are we revisiting the Willie Simmons? Because everything there kind of just went completely quiet. Mm-hmm. We've only been hearing these two names. At least that's what's been out there. I mean, Tom Allen is still in Indiana for the time being.
Right.
Does he resurface into this whole thing? The South
Dan
Alabama
Mullen's name.
I think Dan Mullen probably not going to coach right now. Yeah. But Tom Herman just went to FAU. He was kind of way out in the peripheral, so now he's gone. So that's interesting.
A lot of people feel he would have been a great hire at USF.
And by the way, just for USF's sake, by the way, Tom Herman's a good coach.
Really good.
And
coach.
He's at FAU, which is now in the AAC.
Yeah. That
program to me has a lot of potential to take off in this conference now. So USF has to match that, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah. If they
because it's obviously in the state of Florida, 2 hours south.
Well, and at this point, if it's not going to be Jamie Chadwell, who looks like he's going to Liberty, and you're telling me it's not going to be Dion, I still think it's Dion. Yeah, that's going to be an underwhelming hire unless they pull a freaking rabbit out of their hat that nobody's talking about.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I still very much believe it's going to be Dion. We'll see.
I feel so appreciative. as a UCF fan that whenever we were going through a transition, 2 years ago, it was very quick. Yeah, we're getting Gus, just like that.
Yeah.
See ya.
Yeah.
This has been a crazy head coaching search.
This is absolutely gut wrenching. No doubt about it. But I think when you look and Bruce Feldman was on with Rich Eisen the other day saying a lot of the same things I've been saying about the USF opportunity for Dion. And here's the thing, folks, when Shador is such a big part of this, and Dion knows he's going to be a Power 5 coach, and there's a much better chance of all that happening if he comes to USF, because there's a much better chance of him failing at Colorado. I don't think he would fail at Colorado, but I think he would be much more successful at USF. He would become much more hireable after 2 years at USF and winning 2 conference championships than going 7-5 at Colorado and 8-4 is something like that. I think he's much more hireable, and he could be exposed to Colorado playing against these better teams with better coaching staffs. And and it takes time in college football. He's just not going to go snap his fingers and go to Colorado and make them immediately at the top of the conference. He does that at USF. Am I wrong? He immediately takes them to the top of the conference with the talent that he brings in here and the talent that's already here and everything that exists here. I think so. That's my take. So to me, why expose yourself to much higher competition for your son and yourself to a place that's completely unfamiliar to you in Colorado? And not for nothing. And I think I retweeted it, but it's not. But there was a video the other day that was on Prime Times, or if you search Deion Sanders, that popped up. He was doing an interview with I think it was either a local reporter or a HBCU network reporter. And the reporter asked him on camera, "Is like, hey, I'm going to the Chiefs Broncos game this week. Can I catch a ride with you to Colorado?" And Dion just started laughing. He just started laughing. He's like, "That's a good one, man. Why do you think I'm going to Colorado?" And then it was like the two of them laughing like they'd been talking off air. Like, "Ain't no way I'm going to Colorado, bro.
I'll tell you
Ain't
what we should do.
Going to Colorado."
Dion should treat this like a recruiting thing, and instead of having the hats, though, we should have just a buffalo and a bull on one side, and that's how we should got to settle
this. Or bags of money.
There you go.
with the logo on it, like, just like the old paper, the old white bags.
What's the thing? They just put like 2 bowls of money, whatever, and just have like a dog or something, and like there's logos on the bowls, and whichever one they go to, that's where he goes.
Oh my God! Yeah, that would be fun, but completely disrespectful. So, but fun. I'm for entertainment and fun. Yes, that's the way we should do coaching decisions now, right?
Yeah, we should.
We should. They should all be
Make
like
college football fun again. Come on,
taking my talents too, and all these fat cat administrators and boosters are like, "Where'd you go?" You know, on the edge of their seat, and they can't
televise it. Televise that thing.
Televise it. Absolutely. Well, ratings would be good.
Yeah. Do it on a Sunday. Sunday night's a perfect night for it.
Think you'd get a big
What's
number
ESPN going to be playing? Poker on Sunday night?
Probably.
We'll take that off TV. Come on.
Poker?
Yeah.
I love poker on TV. Poker.
I'm not even getting into that if you said that.
I don't watch a lot of it. No, I really don't. And when I do, I'm in a very special mood.
All right, we got a break and hit Chief here.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we're going to do more odes and bouquets for the great Steven Stamkos, and also talk about a Lightning team that's rounding into form, so to speak. And here comes Toronto on Saturday night at Amalie Arena. We'll talk to the Chief. We're brought to you by Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's #1 private investigation agency, and the Jeeves Law Group in our first hour, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Thank you so much to all of our great sponsors who bring you this tremendous podcast of so much local information that you guys, I know you're just digging it, just like we love bringing it to you. Chief, coming up next. Stay with us. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell him JP sent you.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BA
in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashland Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show as we roll on here. Brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group. If you are in an accident or your car was totaled and you didn't get the amount of money you think you should have gotten, which is probably the case because that's what insurance companies do, you probably have a case and can recoup some of that money. And the attorney's fees will be taken care of by the insurance company if you have a case. So call the Jeeves Law Group. Go to jeeveslawgroup.com, send them an email or give them a call. Tell them JP sent you. Set up a quick consultation, which will be free, and find out if you have a case. The Jeeves Law Group. Great folks over there. All right. Speaking of great folks, let's bring in the great Bobby the Chief Taylor, Valley Sports Sun, Lightning analyst, and Lightning Radio Network that you can hear on 102.5 The Bone. What's up, Chief? How are you?
Doing good, JP.
So,
it's nice to have not as much humidity right now.
Oh, isn't it beautiful? Yeah, I texted you this morning. I thought you'd be out on the golf course, so we're pleasantly surprised to be able to have you on to celebrate Steven Stamkos this morning.
Yeah, well, we're renovating our house, and so I had to go find something that I don't even know what it is for the floor. So,
what were you tasked to do?
We're
transmission problem. We're a little computer
About to
problem.
get it. We're going to get it back here in a second.
Stand by. We have to recall Chief here on the fly. If we have to do that, we have to do that. While you're doing that, I will remind the folks out there that Italiano Insurance is open for business always for the insurance checkup. If you want to do your annual insurance checkup, which is a great idea because you could save thousands of dollars. I'm all for other people doing the work and me saving money. Like, that's a good plan for me. So you can do that as we do this live on the air. Just call 813-877-7799. We got Chief back? Do we have Chief back? Chief, are you there?
Yes, I am.
All right. Sorry about that. We had a computer glitch there. So anyway, we hope your home renovations are going as great as Steven Stamkos' career, but I doubt it very seriously.
You're right.
So what about we've been talking a little bit about Stammer and just his career, and you've covered the whole thing from the day he was drafted. You know him and his family extremely well. Just your thoughts last night on reaching this milestone and really solidifying his Hall of Fame career.
It's watching him come in as an 18-year-old and knowing him all these years, and spending a lot of time with him and his mom and dad. And he's such a great guy, a great kid. I always said, I think I even said it on the tube last night, about as good a player as he is, and he's a Hall of Famer, first ballot automatic, he's that much better as a person. And, he's never been big. He's never big time anybody. He welcomes everybody. And, that's what makes it such an easy transition for new guys to come in, like him, along with Hedman and the other veterans. They all welcome the guys, and their wives welcome the girls, either their fiancés or girlfriends or their wives in here. And it makes it such an easy transition for guys to get traded here or sign here as free agents. And everyone will tell you that. And it's all starts at the top with Stamkos. And they've got a great all for one and one for all type attitude with this hockey club. And that's really produced an awful lot of exciting moments for all of us over the last 5 or 6 years. But for Stammer, think about it, one team. I think there's 7,970 some odd players that have played in this league, and I think there's only like 120 that ever got to 1,000 points or something like that. It's just ridiculous. The percentage is so low that just magnifies what he has just accomplished.
And Chief, we were just going over some of the great moments of his career, but I go back to that 2020 final against Dallas, game 3. They're up 1-0. The only 2 minutes and 36 seconds he played in the whole damn final in the playoffs, and he scores a goal, a huge goal, and they go on to win the cup. I mean, you can't make that crap up. And we listened to it again. Doc Emmerich was on the call. It was great to hear his voice again. I mean, what a moment. Is that your favorite Stamkos moment? It is mine.
Yeah, it is. I'll tell you what, it's right there. I mean, that's something like you'd see on a Hallmark movie.
Yes. And you'd say that's too hokey. That would never happen, right?
Yeah, I know. But, for me, like the one that really amazed me was when he got that puck in the face and broke his jaw, then came back out and finished the game with a helmet and the cage on and everything.
Yes.
That's really old time hockey.
Yeah,
that used to happen quite honest all the time in hockey, and it doesn't happen as often now.
These guys are nuts
because of all the sports medicine, so much more knowledge on injuries, and yet Stammer, nope, I'll go back. I don't skate with my face. And that's the whole thing. I mean, I like to do the one area that I really was happy about was, remember when free agency came and everybody was talking about, oh, he's going to go back to Toronto, and all the so-called experts from the North were saying, oh, he's going back to home to Toronto and all that. I don't think he even wanted to move from here. Obviously everybody's going to speculate about it and all, but he loves it here in Tampa, and it really, he knew that they were on the threshold of something big here. So I think it was just really something that I think it just shows the character that he is, and also the fact that, this is really a great place to play your game. And they look after you here. The fans are great here. And Stammer just loves it here. And I think that's a tribute to how Chris and Leslie, his mom and dad, raised him. That's the way he was. I'll tell you a funny story, JP, and I think I told you this off the air, but I remember when he first came here and he signed his first contract when he was an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
And I'm walking down the back there, from the compound towards the dressing room, and I see Chris and Leslie coming, and they're madder than a hatter. And I go, what's wrong? He says, well, let me ask you this, Chief. They said, you played in this league. You've been in this league a long time. If you had some snot-nosed kid come in here after signing his contract and buy a big Mercedes, wouldn't you be upset with him? I started laughing. I said, no, I'd be jealous. And I'd love to have been able to buy it. He said, no, he should have bought a Chevy. But that's how he was raised. And I'll tell you what, they're an incredible family.
It's a great place to work. It's fantastic. There's a lot going on here.
All right, I think I'm back in the stream here. If everybody can hear me finally. Yeah.
I can hear you.
I mean, I'll just say this mini rant. I hate Macs.
Yeah.
I think I'm done with Apple. I think I'm about done with Apple and their Macs because
Apple. I'm getting a Galaxy phone or Samsung. If you guys out there have a phone recommendation non-Apple, please do. Because by the way, if you like Twitter, it's going to be gone soon on your Apple phone. So yeah, that's the way they work. Yeah. Way more beholden to others than Americans. That's for damn sure. We're gonna try to get Chief back. You think?
Yeah, well, we can try to call him back one more time.
All right, let me text him and say sorry. I will do it one more time, and we'll try and get him back because that was a great freaking story right there. And I want to get a little bit more on the game last night. So we'll call him back. We're producing live on the air.
Here, let's take a break if we can real quick.
All right.
Actually.
All right, let's take a break. We're going to reset here, and we're going to try to get Chief back on. So stand by. It's going to be a really quick break, and we'll try and get Chief back on momentarily here on the JP Peterson Show. Was your car totaled in an accident? Did your insurance company use Kelley Blue Book or NADA to appraise the value of your car? Chances are they didn't, and you got shorted maybe thousands of dollars. Call the Jeeves Law Group for a free case evaluation because your insurance company may still owe you money. 727-894-2929. It's a free call, so why not find out if you have a case? Insurance companies have been running this scam for a while, and most folks don't know if they've been shorted. Trust me. Scott Jeeves is a different kind of attorney, the kind insurance companies hate to go up against. He could recover thousands of dollars, so why not call 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you.
JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an organized, dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information.
It's never been more important to shop local and support the businesses that support our amazing Tampa Bay community. None better than the great folks at the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, or online at goldendiamond.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, let's try this one more time with the Chief, Bobby Taylor, who is back with us. We apologize for the technical difficulties. Chief, are you there? Are you there?
Yeah, yes, I am.
Hey, we got the whole Stamkos story in, so that was good. So we appreciate that, and we're gonna have a little celebration, right? Saturday tomorrow night for the 1,000th point. I know my Lightning Vision folks are working on a great Stamkos retrospective video right now as we speak. They do great work, so I'm looking forward to celebrating with him tomorrow night, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, some stats that, that really don't get a whole lot of recognition, but, one of them is that, the plus and minus, you get a plus for a goal for and a minus if you're on a goal against. Well, his career, he's plus 77, and in all his seasons he's played. This is his 15th. So the first 14, he's only had 3 years where he finished as a minus player.
Wow.
It's the very first year, and 1 year was when he only played about 15 games when he got really hurt, so he never had a chance to get back to the plus. So what was amazing to me about him is not just his ability to score, and he does that very, very well, but he plays defense, and he plays a whole complete game. His first 6 years, he never won 40 or 50. He was only around 48% on the faceoff. In the last 5, he hasn't been under 50%. So he keeps improving his game in every aspect. So that's what makes him such a special player in my mind.
And Chief, I was going to ask you too, as somebody who played the game, and it's obviously you're playing during the season almost every other night or every 2 nights, and you're constantly flying to other cities like the Lightning are doing right now, and just to build a career like he has, or any player for that matter that's had a Hall of Fame career, just can you kind of speak to how difficult it is to stay sharp on a nightly basis like that when there's so many different things going on, just mentally, to have a long career like he has had and a successful one at that?
Yeah, the travel really knocks the heck out of you, and what's really tough about that too is like when you are on a road trip, you don't get time to practice. So what happens is if something's going wrong, you only have the morning skate to kind of work on it. As a team, individually you can probably do it, but you know what? It's not the same working in on practice, but you really have to adjust yourself as the games progress. And you're traveling across the country, you got all the time changes and everything. When I first came in the league, there was only 6 teams, and then when I got to the NHL, there was only 12. So our travel was not as bad as it has now. And I think that's the biggest thing. You have to cope with that, and your body gets tired from that. And I think and the mental part of it is tough. That's the thing that I think what not too many people understand, especially these guys here over the last 3 years. They've played some really tough, emotional type games of playoff hockey where you have to be at your best every single minute of every single game if you're going to be successful. And that mental part of it can really tire you out. And these guys have gone through it. Think about it, guys. They won 2 cups in 283 days.
Yeah.
That's amazing. That's a lot of high pressure hockey.
Yeah, that emotional and not only physical but emotional pain that you go through and stress is just amazing. And I think, and we can transition to what this team is going through right now, Chief. This is a residue of that. They've played almost a full season more than every other team over the last 3-4 years. And and here it is, October, November, early December. Are the Lightning playing their A+ game? Hell no. And you know what? That's fine. They don't need to do that until March and April. Boston's probably peaking way too early, right? They're playing good hockey. But this team went into Boston where they had not lost, and they played straight up with them. And this is the elite team, and everybody's saying, oh, the Lightning are too slow. They're getting old. They're past their window, whatever. I'm like, no, they're not. They're fine. The core is here, and they're going to get better when Cirelli comes back. So just watching what they've done. And then last night against Philly, they dominated that game. It was ridiculous. I'm fine with where this team is at right now. Sure, it's not their A game, but how do you feel about it?
Yeah, I agree. And you know who isn't got his A game going right now either is Vasi.
Yes.
I know they've left him hung out to dry. His numbers aren't where they're supposed to be. But it was funny. Before we went on the air yesterday, I was looking at all the goaltending numbers. Vasi's name is not in the top 10 of anything. That's unusual. I mean, think about it. Yes. From the day he first came into the league, he's always been in at least 1 or 2 categories where he's in the top 10 at minimum. And he'll get better. I don't think Victor's playing as good as he can. He'll get better. And that's the thing. I think if they've got to stay close, though. That's the only problem because it's tougher to win now in this league, JP guys, because every team is getting better and better. Look at New Jersey. They were kind of a doormat a couple years, not anymore. Detroit has really come on, and that's going to be a big game on Tuesday when they come to Amalie. So you're looking at all these teams that were pretty much automatic win when you play them aren't an automatic win anymore. So it's very, very difficult to win in this league now.
And when you look at Toronto coming in, obviously this is a team we're going to be battling for second place. If Boston wants to run away and hide, that's fine. But this is this is another measuring stick against one of the better teams on Saturday night. Give us a quick preview. What do you expect?
Yeah, one thing that Toronto's going for them a little bit better than they've had in the past. They've always been a team that could score. Yeah. And, they were like our team when we set that 62 game record and ran away with the league and then got beat 4 straight in the playoffs. We wanted to outscore teams rather than outplay them. Toronto's starting to understand that philosophy. They're starting to see that, well, you know what, we got to play a little bit better defensively. And I think that's what they've done right now. But they're still a high-scoring team. I think it's going to be a tremendous game. I think you're going to see the game pretty much the same as we saw against the Bruins up there in Boston. That was a really good game, and only that power play and a couple of miscues and coverage cost us the game. But for me, I think you're going to see an end-to-end game and a well-played game. I like what I'm starting to see with this team. They had that one turkey against Buffalo,
right?
But over the last 4 or 5 games, they've been playing pretty hard, and that's something. They got to clean up their own end, though. Our goalies, even though they don't have the great numbers, boy, they've kept us in games. That Buffalo game for sure. If you don't have those guys in the net and playing like they did in most of that game, we don't win some of these games. So they got to just get a little bit better in their own end.
Yeah, and you mentioned Vasi and Hedman as well. We know they're going to come back to the mean. So I'm bullish on this Lightning team. They're fine. They're 14-8-1 right now, and they're playing probably their C minus game. So they're still winning at a 630 clip. So I'm not too concerned. But here comes Toronto. They're 8-0-2 in their last 10. So it's going to be fun Saturday night. I will be there. I know Chief will be there as well. Look forward to it, my friend. We'll see you then.
You bet, JP. I'll see you at the set.
That's right. I will see you on set. Absolutely. Good. It's going to be that should pack the house just to make sure everybody comes in for the Stamkos.
Saturday's going to be a hell of a day.
It is.
10 o'clock, we got USA, Netherlands.
I know.
And then there's one I'm missing. Well, for my sake, 4 o'clock is UCF and Tulane. So that's going to lead into Toronto and the Lightning, which I'm actually going to miss because I'm actually going to be in Orlando for the UFC event that is there at the Amway Center on Saturday.
UFC event?
Yeah, UFC event on Saturday. So I'll be at that. I'm going to miss this game, unfortunately, but Saturday is going to be a great sports day. Conference championship games in there and everything.
And of all, TCU is probably, we'll get into this a little bit more in our second hour. TCU is the one that is on the edge. Kansas State, the Fighting Scott Reynolds, they're at a 2.5 point underdog in this game.
Yeah.
Max Duggan, I still think he should. I still think I haven't looked at all the numbers, but he's definitely at the top of my Heisman list. With
Max Duggan, really? Over Caleb Williams? Because everybody thinks Caleb Williams has run away with this now, and it's him.
Is that based on the Notre Dame game that everybody saw and he's running around?
Well, Stroud took himself out of the conversation in the Michigan game.
He did.
Blake Corum didn't really play in that game, took himself out of it. And after that, it's like, who else is there? Hendon Hooker got injured. So it's just kind of like by default, he's kind of been the guy. But I agree, Max Duggan probably should be one of the 4 at least that goes to New York.
Absolutely. I'd have to look at their numbers, but to me, every time I've seen him play, he's been the huge difference maker. Look at the weapons that Caleb Williams has.
But he's got a pretty good one, Max Duggan and Quentin Johnson.
Yeah,
you'll see him in the first round this year.
That's true, yeah. Maybe I'm just a little anti-USC in that whole deal. And that's a longer discussion too. Like, is that the future of college football? Let's go grab somebody. Let's go grab the best coach and the quarterback and give him a gazillion NIL dollars and flip it in 1 year.
Well, when you can do it, you can do it.
No, thank you. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we come back, Brady Tinker's going to join us, and we're going to talk some gambling and some fantasy football for this week's game. So, quick break. We're brought to you by Emerging Investigations, emerginginv.com, and the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Stay with us.
JP here for Italiano Insurance. If you've started a side hustle during COVID and the business has grown, well, you need business insurance because if you get sued, you could lose all your personal wealth if you're not properly protected. That's right. Your home, your savings, everything could go. So get protected now. Call the great agents at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and a real human will answer the phone and get you protected. If you haven't shopped your business insurance in a while, you could be overpaying by thousands. One customer had their golf buddy handling his business insurance, then called Italiano to shop it around, and they saved him $26,000 a year. Yeah. So call 813-877-7799 or go to ItalianoInsurance.com. Italiano Insurance, protecting all the pieces of your life for over 60 years. Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the second hour of the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com, and the great folks at the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. We appreciate their sponsorships, and please give them a call and tell them JP sent you. All right, let's talk some gambling and fantasy football with our good friend Brady Tinker.
Morning, boys.
Good morning. How are you, sir?
Fantastic. It's overcast, but it's 68, so it's a little warmer today than yesterday.
Got a little 65 and sunny here.
Yeah, pretty good.
Tampa Bay, yeah.
Pretty good. I'm in the holiday spirit. I like the holidays.
Oh, dude, who doesn't like Christmas?
Yeah.
I got a little festive shirt on here today.
I have two different Christmas music programs set up in my car. It's almost embarrassing.
It's good. It is a beautiful time of year, and can we all just be more kind and more loving?
Wouldn't that be great?
Wouldn't it be great?
Wouldn't that be great?
All right, so let's pick some turkeys here on the sports betting landscape,
Sure,
my friend. Let's get some good games going. Let's start in college with the SEC championship game, LSU and Georgia. What are you thinking?
17.5 points is what it is when I woke up this morning.
That's crazy.
Georgia giving 17.5, the over and under roughly around 51. LSU coughed up a game, which everybody does every year once, to Texas A&M. Texas A&M, every year we find out they have a top 5 recruiting class. They have great athletes, and they shit their own bed. They don't win enough games. For some reason, they can't put it together. But A&M is always going to fuck someone up late in the season that you didn't think they were going to, because they're athletic as hell. And they're going to play that one game. It happened. I think it's been a great year for LSU, to be honest with you.
I agree.
For him to come into the SEC, lose that opening game, that was a killer at Florida State, and then bounce back with other people's players. Now, not to say that LSU's got bad players, but these aren't his players. They haven't been taught, how to play how he wants to play football. I think what he's done is amazing. And Georgia can lose this game. They're not going to.
Right.
But Georgia can lose this game, and they're still in the Final Four. They've done this before. I anticipate them holding their cards close to their vests. They're not pulling anything special for this game. I imagine they pull this game out in the end, but LSU is going to play hard. That's an embarrassing loss to their friends and their families, even though it's not that bad to A&M. And I just think LSU is going to play a hell of a game here, and 17.5 feels like a mountain of points. So I'll take LSU all day in that game. The other one that stands out, and these are tough games. Watch out for Utah against USC, and I think we all kind of want USC to win. I kind of want, a team from the West Coast in this mix in the Final Four. I like the stories. I like the quarterback. I like all of that. Utah knows how to win big games. This is their fourth time in this conference championship game since 2018, and they've had a couple of tough losses, but Utah will be in this game until the end. You can count on that. I'm not sure what I'm telling you here, but I think what I'm telling you is I'm not betting in that game. I'm just not. It's too close. I'm not betting that game.
If it goes to 3, I'll definitely hit Utah, but right now it's 2.5.
The other one again is taking the points. Purdue at Michigan. In Purdue's last 5 years, they are 7-6 against teams that are inside the top 20. They are giant killers. They're not afraid. I'm not saying they're a great team, but Purdue's going to stay in this game. Michigan's going to have a little bit of a letdown. And again, 16.5 points is what I see here. I'll take those 16.5 points, and Purdue, they step up in these games. They consistently step up in these games. Not thinking they're going to win, but I'll take those points. From an NFL point of view, Dolphins at 49ers stands out. There is so much going on in San Francisco, and I do think San Francisco right now probably is the team that I most fear in coming out of the NFC, if healthy. Their defense is getting to where it's playing great, but all of a sudden Debo's got something lingering and he's not practicing, and McCaffrey is not practicing, and I have a feeling McCaffrey will try and play, but I also know they'll be cautious with him. They don't have to win all these games. So as good as I think San Francisco is trending, the injuries are a real problem here. And really, for a fantasy tip, Elijah Mitchell is out. McCaffrey might be out. And Jordan Mason, a rookie, stepped in last week and wasn't bad. But everything I'm hearing is it's not Jordan Mason. It's the other rookie, Tyrion Davis-Price, who probably would get the majority of the carries. Then you would think, well, Debo then will get some carries. This is more of a Debo running game, only he ain't feeling great. So San Francisco's in danger here. The Dolphins are a good team. San Francisco -4 is what I had. 46.5. I'm not sure about the over and the under. I'm not doing that. But the Dolphins are live in this game, really live, and it would not surprise me to see if the Dolphins win this game. It really wouldn't. It's a long way to travel, et cetera, et cetera. But San Francisco's just had one of those weeks where nobody's healthy, nothing's right. Jimmy G didn't practice he wasn't around on Tuesday. And then he didn't practice on Wednesday. He did practice on Thursday. So everyone's feeling a little banged up in San Francisco. I just have my feeling that the Dolphins are ready for this game.
And San Francisco's having a hard time scoring points. They only scored 13 last week. And Miami just puts up points. And from the time I saw them against the Bucs in practice and saw Tua and the speed with my own eyes and Waddle and Hill and the rest of those guys, it's just such an explosive offense. And Tua is so accurate. He just needs a little sliver to hit one of those guys on the run, and they're gone. So that's why I feel Miami's going to keep it close as well. I think.
What are you hearing there about who's playing running back this week for the Dolphins?
For the Dolphins,
yeah. Because they've got some issues with health at running back. If they have both of those running backs healthy and are really into a rhythm, this offense is going to be very, very hard to stop. Then it's just going to be
the injury report yet this week, to be quite honest with you. But to me, it's Tua, it's Waddle, it's Hill, and they'll have their moments. They're not going to, ain't putting up 35 points on this San Francisco defense. Don't get me wrong, but it's just I think it's going to be a lower scoring game maybe than the experts think. And speaking of the under, my lock of the week is the Bucs game going under against the Saints. In fact, this may be the first scoreless game in the history of the NFL.
We talked about that this morning on Sportsbook Confessions. I was like, I'm looking at 40.5, and I'm always hesitant to bet it over and under that's hanging around 40 at betting an under, but I'm totally with you. I don't know that the Saints will even score. And the Buccaneers are not. The Buccaneers are not very good at scoring. It's the oddest thing.
Right now, when they had their best offensive line with Marpet and Jensen and Kappa and Wirfs and Donovan Smith, when they've had their best offensive line against the Saints, Brady's still getting rid of the ball in 1.5 seconds. He can't. He's just throwing it away. He's going to get hit. And now you've got 4 new guys and Donovan Smith, who's playing horribly. The only holdover you have is Donovan Smith, and he's playing worse than any of them. So they are going to feast on Brady. I mean, it's going to be so bad.
The only thing I'm wondering is in watching the Saints last week, honest to God, I felt like I almost felt a little bit of quit in some of the Saints.
Oh yeah.
I think that there's a sheer disappointment here. I don't know what's going on with their number one quarterback. I can't really figure that out. I don't really have a problem with Andy Dalton, except he tends to turn the ball over, but he'll take his shots. Yeah. But Kamara's not even touching the ball the last 2 or 3 weeks. I mean, if you're a Saints offense, you've been shown Kamara should touch the ball 20 times a game. It doesn't matter to me how it is. 13 and 7, I don't care. Kamara gets the ball one-on-one in the open field, wherever he lines up or coming out of the backfield. He's their best player. And there's something going on when Kamara's not touching the football. It's just
so you think if they're tanking or whatever they're doing from a play calling standpoint or an organizational standpoint, that goes out the window this week because it's Bucs week.
Good point.
These are teams, you get a lot of hate and rivalry in college football. I think it's much more real in the emotion. You don't get a lot of it in professional football. But this game, these teams really hate each other. And Marshawn Lattimore and Mike Evans literally – just put them in a ring and I'll pay-per-view. They hate each other, and it just permeates through the whole damn rivalry. These teams hate each other, and you will get the best of the Saints this week, especially defensively. Cam Jordan will not shut up the entire game. It's gonna be a bloodbath, and the only people are gonna be scoring in this game are on the defensive end. So
the Chiefs and the Bengals are similar. There's not a hate here, but there is sort of an FU thing between these two quarterbacks. And the Bengals have been able to score points against the Chiefs ever since he came into the league. But this is Mahomes' year. And I told everybody this in the beginning. When this was an all Buffalo year, that shit never works out, right? At the beginning of the season, we all agreed. Buffalo's going to the AFC. Everything goes through Buffalo. Buffalo's going to the Super Bowl. Buffalo's quarterback's going to win the MVP. It didn't matter what show you turned on, TV, radio, podcast, or anything else. Everyone agreed. Buffalo. And I kept thinking to myself, being from Kansas City, I'm happy about this. Yeah. I'm good with this. Tyreek is gone, so certainly Pat's going to take a step back. And the eidetic memory of Pat Mahomes and the competitive nature of him, I called him as MVP before the season ever began. And everyone's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, if you don't watch him every day, you don't know. But he's going to take this shit personally. The fact that he won't be as good because Tyreek is gone, he's going to take it personally. Plus, Andy's a weapon. We all know that. Andy has his warts. He doesn't ever want to run the football, et cetera, et cetera. But Andy Reid's an offensive genius mixed with a quarterback who has an eidetic memory that when he closes his eyes, he sees everything that happened in the last 5 plays. Yeah. I talked to his agent about that a year ago, and he was like, you ever notice, Brady, that he sits down the sidelines and he's never looking at the pad? He's never looking to see what happened in the last couple of plays where he got confused because he sees it all. You ever wonder when he runs? He runs like a duck. He's heavy-legged. He's heavy in the ass. He's heavy in the thighs. You're like, he's not fast. He might even be slow. How does he continually run, zigzag his way around the field and pick up 18 or 21 or 32? How does it happen? It's because he already sees with his eyes closed where everyone is at when he left the pocket. He knows safety, corner. Yeah. It's amazing. It's a special gift, and I think this is a Mahomes game. The Chiefs are getting better and better. The danger is it looks like everybody's coming back for Cincinnati. It looks like Mixon's going to play. It looks like Chase is going to play. And the Chiefs are starting 3 corners who are all rookies and a defensive coordinator who says, screw it. We're playing press coverage all day. Well, every time he plays press coverage against Chase, he better swing a safety that way, or otherwise they're just going to throw it over there all day. And I watch that stuff as a Chiefs fan. And I'm like, just play a little zone. Yeah. Let some people actually see where the football is rather than just trying to shadow a man because this kid can hit him. But I think this is a Chiefs game. The Bengals are a 2-point dog at home, over and under at 52.5. I like the over, and I like the Chiefs stepping up and making a statement, and Mahomes making a statement in this game of, you're pretty good, kid, but this is my year.
All right, well, there you are in Dallas. So, Brady, give us a little throw on this Colts-Cowboys game. It started at 8.5. It's now up to 10.5 for the Cowboys. Yep. I'm starting Dak Prescott over Josh Allen this week in my fantasy because I have to. My ridiculous fantasy. You have to sit guys 4 or 5 times a year. So I chose this week, and I hopefully Dak goes off. But where do you see with the Cowboys right now?
I'm worried about the 10.5 or 11 points that I'm looking at. But the Cowboys are playing as well as they've played all year. Those wins against Minnesota and the New York Giants were good wins and were big wins. If you spend enough time here in Dallas, as I have, everybody wants to say, well, okay, they beat Minnesota, a game we weren't sure they would win, and they beat the hell out of them. They're going to come home and chit the bed against the Giants because for 26 years, that's what they do. They win when they're not supposed to, and they lose when they're not supposed to. And I'm not at all a shill for this Cowboys team. I'm from Kansas City, but this isn't the same team. This team is defensively driven. This team is very well coached, and being in that locker room, this team is as together as I have seen it. There was a couple of years, Romo years, where they were really good and they were really together. But for the most part, this team is together. And Dak really has continued to play better and better. More interceptions, but oddly enough, this is stupid. They're almost on purpose. They're not, but they're almost on purpose in that he is forcing himself to be more aggressive because what he's been told is right. This is a defensive team. This is a defensive team that runs the ball. Special teams have been outstanding. Those are good playoff teams, especially in cold weather games. But the bottom line is, Dak, you're going to have to be able to score points every now and then. You're going to be down 14 because of a quirky couple of events. Whatever's going to happen, you have to be as good as some of these top quarterbacks. And when this team needs to score, you have to score. It's hard for him to force himself to throw into smaller windows. It is hard for him to force himself to throw people open. It's not in his nature. He doesn't like turnovers. He doesn't like throwing interceptions. So now all of a sudden you're seeing this more aggressive Dak because they're saying, we got time, but we need your unit beyond the two running backs to be able to score 30 if we need to. We need to be able to count on that, which means you have to deal with CD running shitty routes, right? You have to deal with Gallup's knee not being quite right, et cetera, et cetera. They get Washington maybe in the mix this week, the Steelers wide receiver, so they're a little deeper. And I think if you wanted to make one of the surest bets you're going to make, Odell Beckham Jr. signs here. There is a pissing contest between Stephen Jones and Jerry Jones, and that is Stephen hates the idea of adding 2 more years to Odell coming off back-to-back ACLs at what's going to be 31 years old.
Yeah.
Jerry's point of view is, as long as I'm convinced that he gets here and within 2 or 3 weeks is playing and he is electric, then we're getting him. And I don't give a shit what the back end is. So if the back end is 2 more years, in an odd way, maybe he's good for CD, because CD runs drifty routes, CD this, CD that. CD didn't want to be number 88. CD's, he's got great hips or whatever, but he's sort of a kid. And as much as it seems odd, maybe Odell has a good effect on CD. Maybe Odell at this point, I think, appreciates what's left of his career.
He's much more mature than he was.
Yeah, I think those two together could be great. It could be terrible, but it really could be great. So I think Odell ends up here as well. I think this Cowboy team is playing great, and the NFC is not very good. So this is as good a chance as this Cowboys team has had in a long time. In the last couple of weeks, you have Dak too. The other thing I'm seeing, and I said this in game 1 when you guys beat the hell out of us, Dak was not healthy in that game in the lower half of his body. He then hurt his hand. It might have been the best thing that could have happened because he ended up taking 5 weeks off, and now he looks again like the guy from 3 years ago who believes he can run when he needs to. He's not afraid to get hit. I mean, I wondered if we were ever going to see that again, and now we're seeing it.
Yeah, and you mentioned the NFC being weak this year, but the Eagles are 10-1, and I think they have a big game this week that nobody's really been talking about, and it's no surprise because they're playing the Titans, which to me is the most boring, good, great team, whatever you want to call it, team in the NFL. They just are, right? But in this game, I think the Titans are a 4.5 underdog right now, which is a little surprising to me because if the Eagles have one weakness, especially on their defense, is they have trouble stopping the run. And I think Derrick Henry's coming to town. So does this seem like kind of a bad matchup for Philly in this game, even at home?
It does. Certainly, we talked about this game this morning, and all three of us said the Titans are very much alive in this game, especially against the line. But even to win, because the Eagles are not playing great right now. They're really not. And if the Titans are well coached, and I think one thing you can plan on with the Titans is they're not going to spy that quarterback. They're going to stay home on the ends and make that quarterback stay in the pocket and say, you know what? You got 2 pretty good receivers, 3 pretty good receivers. Throw the ball because you are not running for 140 against us in this game. That's not going to happen. So I like the under in this game as well. But yeah, the Titans are definitely alive in this game. They're 2-2 in their last 4. Who'd they lose to? Cincinnati and Kansas City. That's no sin. The Titans are, you're right. The Titans are the good team that nobody wants to watch, same as they were last year. And Henry, I tell you what, I doubted Henry coming off a Liz Frank injury weighing 250 pounds on that foot. But damn, I mean, when that guy is right, which he looks like he is a nightmare. I absolutely, you would hear me screaming when he was running at me. The fact that I had to get in front of that.
Nobody wants any part of that.
Awful.
Nobody wants any part of that.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know. I don't know if you watched the Buccaneers game this past week against Cleveland.
I did.
Yeah. Well, there were some game management issues with Todd Bowles that he doubled down on Monday, which was even worse, especially punting the ball from the Cleveland 37 on 4th and 2 when you have Tom Brady and you've had 2 weeks to get ready. Hopefully you had a play on 4th and 2 that you knew was going to work. They didn't, and they punted the ball away for 17 yards of possession. They gave up a possession for 17 yards of field position, and then not calling timeout while on the 4th and 10 play that they eventually score on. Brady would have had a minute and 2 timeouts to work with to go down the field to get a field goal. That's a lock. And then he doesn't even call timeout after the first play when they got the ball back with 32 seconds left. I mean, those are such 3 egregious game management mistakes, and then doubling down on them the following day. At that point, I said the Bucs are done. If their head coach is managing games like it's 1965, they have no freaking chance whatsoever. So I'm completely off the Bucs bandwagon as far as this coaching staff. I think they've ruined this team. What did you see?
You know, the thing that I would have said, none of that matters because Tom's the quarterback and
Right.
Tom has them together, but he doesn't, because Tom showed, a completely human reaction for a long time, right? He was out in training camp. He's gone. He's divorced. He's sad. He's skinny. He's all these things that all of a sudden, like, what the hell is going on?
Right.
He's not human. He's not having these reactions. He's not actually 45 years old, and he is. And I think I always thought that your team, all the way back to beating the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, was fantastic but fragile.
Yeah.
A lot of big egos, a lot of guys, who are personality guys who need more hugs than you think, right?
Yeah.
And who need more kicks in the ass. And he played them like a fiddle all the way through that Super Bowl season, especially through the playoffs and then into the Super Bowl. And he knew when the Chiefs offensive line was screwed, they were going to win that game. And all they had to do was shut the fuck up and play.
Yeah.
And they did. But they're always an inch away, right, from something fracturing that team. And I think that's just part of the NFL, and it's part of what happens when you bring in so many different dynamic personalities. But, Tom always had them. And this year he doesn't have them. And I think he's a little tired.
Yeah.
I think he's a little tired. He's a little tired of it, and now all of a sudden rumors about, going back to the Patriots and all of that's just more noise, it's more nonsense, but it doesn't help a team like yours. I agree with that. Yeah. San Francisco's the scary team. Dallas is the second scariest team, and Philadelphia is right there as well. So those are my 3 teams in the NFC.
All right, real quick, you got 3 fantasy ads for us this week. This is a week where you're trying to stay in it. You're trying to get that last playoff spot. Zonovan Knight with a Z, Zonovan of the Jets stepped in last week and played very well and caught the ball very well. The issue is, don't they play the Vikings? I think that's right? So the Vikings do one thing pretty well. They stop the run. So what does Robert Saleh do? That's the interesting thing. Robert Saleh is a defensive guy, a conservative guy, and yet he let Mike White throw the ball 35 times for 300 yards last week. I can't see that he wants to do that again, but it probably is the right recipe at Minnesota if you're going to try and win. The Vikings are not very good in the secondary. They don't cover very well. So am I telling you grab Mike White and the rookie wide receiver from the Jets? Maybe. Yeah.
The fantasy season has been so weird that at some point all of us are taking chances, right?
Yeah.
All of us are saying, maybe, maybe.
knows?
But that Zonovan Knight kid was good, and the Jets are good at checking the ball down to various running backs. So Zonovan Knight's probably a decent sign, even though the Vikings play the run pretty well. Tyrion Davis-Price is probably the name coming out of San Francisco. McCaffrey may not play.
I need a running back badly this week.
Yeah, and Jordan Mason is another rookie that stepped in last week and took the carries and actually ran the ball pretty hard. But now I'm hearing out of San Francisco that it's probably Tyrion Davis-Price, another rookie, who, if McCaffrey doesn't play or is limited, gets a lot of the touches. And I don't know what that does either, to be honest with you, because I don't anticipate San Francisco scoring a lot of points. And if he's still available, Zay Jones, Jacksonville all of a sudden throwing the ball all over the yard.
Right.
Kirk is supposedly their guy, but Zay Jones in the last 3 games has something like 32 passes thrown his way. And every time you watch Zay Jones at the end of a year, whether it was in Oakland or wherever else, you'll see him do something great, and you're like, God, that guy's good. Why don't I see more of that guy? And then he's on to another team. So he seems to be a hit right now in Jacksonville. So if Zay Jones, Z-A-Y, is available in your league, I like that one too. And by the way, Heisman winner Caleb Williams is where I'm sitting as we.
I'm a Max Duggan guy.
I know you are.
I love him.
I know you are.
Think he's going to be a good pro?
There's something about Max Duggan to me that I'm like, I'm not sure I believe it. And I have a feeling that works slightly against him in the Heisman voting. If I had a Heisman vote, there'd be something in me doing it wrong, saying, just not sure I believe it. I'm not sure that I believe that the team isn't propping him up a little bit. And I wouldn't spend a first round draft pick on him, but I might be absolutely wrong.
For guys of our age, a USC Trojan winning the Heisman is something that should happen now.
Yeah.
It's about time.
That's right.
And it's good for college football to get the West Coast back involved.
Agreed.
So UFC makes the playoff. That's fantastic. I think I'm with you though at the Utah game this week, and him winning the Heisman is good for college football. We need it to be more of a national game. There's no question about it.
Oddly enough, I have a feeling that USC was really hoping Oregon would not choke that game off.
Yeah.
I just think very quietly they were like, we don't really want to fucking play Utah again.
No, they don't.
They win these games. They hang around. They don't go away,
I agree.
Right? 4 times in this championship game in the last 4 or 5 years. So, I mean, I don't think USC, this is the game they wanted. I really think they wanted Oregon to not gag against Oregon State.
Oh, no question. Hey, I got to ask you this because Deion lived in Dallas for so long.
Yeah.
You think Prime is going to USF or Colorado? Coach Prime. What do you got?
I don't think he's going to Colorado.
I don't either. I don't either. It just doesn't fit.
It doesn't fit.
But they have more money, and we know Prime's all about the dough. But I think
is.
With his son. His son's a big deal, and he wants his son to have great success, and his son will have much better success in that terrible league USF is going to play in next year as opposed to going into the Pac-12.
I'm not sure Deion cares about money more than he cares about his own ego and image. And I think the USF thing sets up to check a lot of boxes.
I agree 100%.
I really do. I just, can you close your eyes and envision Deion Sanders in Colorado?
No.
He don't ski.
Snow going sideways.
He don't ski. They're about to cut his feet off. He's got feet problems like crazy. He don't ski. He talks and he coaches. And I think he's probably a pretty damn good coach. And USF will be lucky to have him.
Yep, I agree. We'll find out Sunday. All right, partner. Is Brady Tinker? You can follow him at DFW Sports Beat on Twitter, and you got a bunch of great podcasts. So go ahead and pimp those.
Well, the fantasy show is called Fantasy Football Now. It's up at DSP Media's site on YouTube if you want to watch us. Jeff Fittoff is out of Ohio, and both of us, we have about 80 years of fantasy sports between us. So it's a pretty darn good show. We'll give you some insight. We don't spend a ton of time telling you good players are good. What fantasy guys need to know is what the third wide receiver or the flex player or the backup quarterback or somebody that I have to put in this damn game, what he's going to do. I always thought fantasy shows wasted a lot of time telling you about the top 20 players. Seems like a waste.
They are. Yeah.
It's called Fantasy Football Now. It drops on Wednesdays and is available for you right up until Sunday. And then I'm doing Off of the Helmets again, which is an old Cowboys show that I did for years on the radio. It was a live show that we did out in restaurants, much like you've done through the years.
Yeah.
And we flipped that, and I'm doing that twice a week. I'm just doing 30 intense minutes on the Cowboys and mostly the NFC East. It's called Off of the Helmets. And then I'm doing a ton of stand-up stuff as I go back and forth to the Star to find out what's going on. So if you love the Cowboys or hate the Cowboys, Off of the Helmets is the other show.
All right, Brady. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. We got good picks here. I'm going
to see you boys. Happy holidays. Happy to come back next week if you need me. Just hit me up.
Right back
at
you.
Thanks,
buddy.
Thanks.
Yeah, we got to get a little holiday flair to this set. We need a tree or something. We got to get a tree right back there.
If we put a tree up on here, it's going to be up on here till like February.
That's true.
Like it happened last year.
That's true.
Where your tree stayed up for like a good 3 months.
Why not? Until it goes really dry.
Now Brady made me cringe there for a second.
As much as we're paying for trees this year, I may leave it up the whole year. I may replant it.
You should, because I just bought a tree. Well, no,
we're going out tonight to get our tree. How much was it?
I take that back. My mother bought me and Casey a tree because it was too expensive for me and Casey to buy.
How much was it?
About over $300
for a Christmas tree.
For a Christmas tree.
$300. How big is it? 9 feet
No, like 7.5.
for $300?
Yeah.
No.
Yes.
Where'd you buy
I
it,
was
Tiffany?
flabbergasted when we went to go buy a tree. It was that
Balenciaga or whatever the hell
expensive.
that
So
is?
no, Lowe's.
$300 for a 7-foot tree at Lowe's.
Yeah, and I was not paying that, so I had to make a
I'm
call
not
to the
paying
bullpen, and that's where Mom came and helped out.
$300.
$300.
They're usually $75.
Yeah.
They were last year.
The trees aren't like that now.
A 6-7-foot tree last year was $75.
No.
This can't be $300.
I'll go get the receipt.
Folks, help me out here. A 7-foot tree is $300.
Hold on. I think I got a photo of said tree here. You can look at this tree.
You got to be out of your freaking mind.
Look at this thing.
No way. No way. I mean, I know diesel is expensive, but come on.
That's
a $300 tree.
That it is. Can we see it here? There it is.
I guess we're getting a fake tree this year.
There it is. $300 tree right there, all in its glory.
Okay. I had a fake tree for a while. I had a fake tree growing up. It's not that big a deal. Fake trees are fun.
I love it because you just like unhook. You just like,
You have to put the
it's
lights
so
on.
easy.
The lights
are already come on. You just got to
Yeah.
put ornaments on it, and that's it.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
I think it's back to the fake tree.
Yeah.
I'm not paying $300 for a live
I tell
tree
you
for-
what, though.
for 3 weeks.
Tell you what, though, in the name
and
of
again,
the whole,
if I do have to pay $300, it's staying up all year long.
you might as well.
I think it's gonna be brown
Might as
by
well.
the time it comes down. No, that's crazy.
I will say, by the way, though, Brady did make me cringe when he came on and said he has not one but 2 Christmas channels in the car. You know how many Christmas channels I got in the car?
You're a Grinch. You're bah humbug. You probably just miss Christmas. You wouldn't care. I mean, so how many? None.
0.
None.
I don't want to hear any of that.
I heard it on Thanksgiving on one of the local radio stations. I think was it the Dove that plays there 24/7?
Oh my gosh!
I was like,
the
this
Dove.
is awesome. This is awesome. I love Christmas music.
Meanwhile, I'm ranting in my car because they replaced the Garth channel with Country Christmas on Sirius XM, and I'm pissed off about it.
So Garth is on all year long, and they replace it for 1 month, and you're upset.
I'm very upset.
Have you not heard every Garth song 10,000 times? You got to hear it 10,000.
Okay, but that's my only avenue. That's my only avenue.
Cheer?
That's my only avenue to listen to his music, though, because he doesn't have it on any streaming platform.
Change your name to the Grinch for all of Christmas. You have to put Nick Grinch up.
I'll make a new graphic for you.
Yeah, you need
over the weekend.
to. I demand it as the boss of this fledgling, wonderful company. Nick Grinch, all of December.
I still got a Grinch shirt I can actually wear.
The Grinch is my favorite movie.
It is a great movie.
It's my favorite. The movie, the new movie, it was my favorite Christmas special growing up by far. But the new movie, well, it's not new anymore, but that is just fantastic.
It is.
It's one of the best of all time. With Christmas, we got to rank our Christmas movies too.
Yeah, see, I agree with you, James. I did not spend $300 for a tree. My mother did. Remember that. I did not spend $300 on a tree.
Brooksville Tree Farm, $50. There you go. I'll drive to Brooksville for $50. Thank you, Thomas Casper. Yes, there's no way we're doing it. Wait a minute. We have saw a tweet from Jim Leverett. I think he means Levitt this morning. He's looking for a job.
I saw this tweet. I don't think it was kind of that wording though. Hold on. Where is it at? He put something out.
Donald.
He put something out there about like, I'm spending time with my girls right now, but I'm not shutting the door on closing or not I'm not closing the door on getting back into coaching, rather, is what he said.
Well, I don't know who Dion's bringing as his DC, but
yeah, here it is. He says
that would be a nice move.
He said, "My girls are my life, not retired, but will stay close to my girls for now. I believe I will coach again."
So that means I'm not coaching this year. Although if Dion calls for him to be the DC.
There's a comment under here. It says Deion Sanders, head coach, Travis Trickett, OC, Jim Levitt, DC, Daniel Del Prado, special teams, Tim Tebow, pastor.
I'm in. Sign me up. Sign me up. I'm all in. I'm all in on that. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back to the other side. We'll update the USF coaching search, see what new stuff is out there on Twitter.
We got to get into our Rays.
The Rays make a big move. I'm still – you're going to have to sell me on this one. They just gave out the biggest contract in their history to a guy with a 4.35 ERA. Is that what I read? An under 500 record? Most Rays thing ever, except spending up the money. We'll dig into that and much more when we come back right here. We're brought to you by BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, and the Jeeves Law Group. Stay with us.
time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com.
Pure sport.
Hey guys, Serena Fazan here for the Golden Diamond Source. Are you looking for the hottest trends in men's jewelry? Ladies love to see men spice it up with something cool from the Golden Diamond Source. Whether you're looking for a gold chain, fashion rings, even a pre-owned Rolex watch, or thinking about getting engaged, there's only one place to go. Go see my friends, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Golden Diamond Source for your one-stop jewelry supercenter. It's never been more important to shop local and support the businesses that support our amazing Tampa Bay community. None better than the great folks at the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, or online at goldendiamond.com.
Are you concerned your spouse might be cheating or want to locate a long-lost relative or love? Or a missing person and the police are not helping? An insurance adjuster who needs proof of injury. Hi, I'm Rachel D'Antonio from Tampa Bay's premier private investigation agency, Emerging Investigation. We have a proven track record of results. Local attorneys and insurance companies hire us to discover insurance fraud and crucial information in criminal cases. We can help in custody matters, and we devote a tremendous state-of-the-art technology and cutting-edge industry surveillance techniques to get you trusted results. Larger corporate agencies can be more expensive and do not offer the personal level of customer service and interaction that we pride ourselves on. We are a family-owned business. Our professional experience team includes my son, lead investigator Zach D'Antonio, a former collegiate athlete, and my daughter Emily, who leads our in-house investigations team. Don't take matters into your own hands by trying to install snooping programs on phones or GPS trackers. That can cause unneeded stress and give you inaccurate results. Go with the professionals at Emerging Investigations. We have proven results and tremendous testimonials from our satisfied customers. Call for a free consultation and we can discuss how we can help. Peace of mind is as valuable as bad news. Just go to our website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's emerginginv.com. We're Emerging Investigations. We get results in life's biggest matters.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Bay Area Modern Medical Center, BAMMC.com. Christopher Lugo and his medical team over there will take good care of you. If you're looking for a new primary care physician, great folks over there. They give you personalized attention, like so much so people are like, can I leave now? No, we got more to talk about. They're not trying to just get you out of the office, write a script, and see you later. No, they're doing it the right way, getting all your blood work and your information, whether it's testosterone replacement therapy, or you want to lose weight or get your immune system built back up for the next pandemic. All great things to be doing, and do it with a modern approach and a modern philosophy, folks. A lot of the doctors out there are still stuck in the 1960s and 70s with some of their approaches. There's new stuff out there. There's new techniques. There's new therapies. There's new drugs. There's new everything. And that's why Bay Area Modern Medical Center is such a great place to get your health care. BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you. All right. Can I just play, before we get into the Rays, can I play the one thing with Dion? And by the way, if Dion does come here to USF, which I think is going to happen and is more and more likely to happen if you're just joining us, Jamie Chadwell is now rumored. Deal is not done, but a lot of arrows pointing towards Liberty. He was the other choice that was very popular around here. Cincinnati appears to be heading in a different direction, not in Deion Sanders. So it looks like Colorado and USF are the places. Deion has said he will be somewhere on Sunday. He's told his recruits that. He's told his his team that. The USF team has been told that they will know their new coach on Sunday. My sources inside the Deion camp have been very tight-lipped after the first reports, but arrow's still pointing towards Deion. Of course, he doesn't want it out. So we shall see what happens. And this was an interview that he did on Wednesday, and he was kindly asked not to ask about the Colorado job, but this is evidently someone that he's very familiar with. It's the Jackson State. I think it's the play-by-play guy. So they're obviously good friends. They talk on and off, I'm guessing, the air. And this is the exchange from Deion.
But you know my favorite team is the Kansas City Chiefs, right?
Yeah.
Next week they play the Denver Broncos in Colorado. I'm going with you, and we gonna ride together.
Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. That's a go. Now that's a good one. That's a good one. There, I gotta admit, now that's a good one.
So the reporter gets
That's
up
a
and
good
walks
one
away because he's laughing so hard.
That was a good one. Come on, sit back down here. Come on.
So everybody's laughing about going to
No. I never been there. But I'm going. I'm going there. Well, I'm going next week when the Chiefs play Bronco in Colorado, Denver, Colorado.
What you trying to say?
I just want to know. Can we ride together?
Why am I going?
What do you think? Well, look, Coach. So they're playing this week. My team played the Bengals.
Oh, you ain't no good, man.
But Coach, I'm just asking.
No good.
Coach, you told me.
I ain't tell you what.
You told the fella. They told the man they'll ask a question. Yeah. He asked a question, and he asking all this stuff about your beard and all that. You said, but when I asked you, can I ride with you to Colorado?
Why would you assume I'm going to Colorado?
I don't. Cause you've been to all these places. I've never been to Colorado.
But why would you assume I'm going to Colorado?
No,
could you ride with me?
No, I'm just.
The Kansas City Chiefs. That's good stuff. Though. Is the Chiefs playing at the real?
Yes.
Okay, I think we get the point.
Season.
So all these Colorado people that are hitting me up on Twitter telling me I'm an idiot because I think Deion's going to USF. Does that sound like he's going to Colorado to you? Because if I was Colorado and I had a deal done with Prime and he was laughing like that and said he'd never been to Colorado, he's never been on campus, but he's going to be their new coach.
I thought it was more like they probably talked on air or before they got on that interview, and he's like, all right, obviously don't ask me anything about this stuff. And he did it anyway, but he did it in the most roundabout way. I thought that's what it was more like the joke of everything.
Did that seem very respectful? It didn't. It really didn't. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll see what happens on Sunday. We'll see what happens on Sunday. And we have any more Cincinnati stuff? Chadwell to Liberty.
Yeah, I have not seen anything on
Not
Cincinnati
a done deal,
yet.
but highly speculated.
If Pete Thamel put it out there, it's likely going to be done soon. So
to Liberty.
Yeah, to Liberty.
So
have not
Jamie
seen
Chadwell, the one that everybody else at the other station said was going to USF, that was a done deal. And I'm the podcaster. Okay. We'll see. I don't know. Hey, listen, I'm just giving you what I know, folks. I'm just giving you what I know, what I've heard from good sources, and we'll see where it goes from here. I hope to God that it's not somebody that just doesn't move the needle, because USF fans will just absolutely lose it. All 7 of them. All right. That was a cheap shot. But you got to show up. You got to show up. If you don't, then people will make jokes about it. So we'll see where it goes. All right. So the Rays have signed Zach Eflin from your Philadelphia Phillies.
Yes.
It is the largest contract in history for the Rays. We were speculating yesterday that the Charlie Morton deal for $15 million a year, total value $30 million, was the biggest, and we were right. That was it. So this is the most they've ever played a player. The numbers don't look overwhelming in terms, but obviously the Rays see something in this guy. What is it?
Okay, so the Rays value guys who can throw strikes and knock walk batters and do all those things. And Zach Eflin has actually only walked 4.1% of all hitters he's faced in the past 2 seasons. Now, that's significant because it is the lowest walk rate of all 144 pitchers who have thrown 160 plus innings in that span, and that is via Rays metrics on Twitter right there for the attribution. But there you go. To me, that is one of the big things that sticks out about Zach Eflin is he's a strike thrower. He's not going to walk guys. You kind of dig a little deeper. He's in the 96th percentile in weak contact rate. So that's also a big plus. He's 6'6", so he's a big presence on the mound, just like Tyler Glasnow is in a sense. Not a hard thrower, not a super hard thrower, but he gets the job done, and he kind of has been that.
Does he?
Yeah.
36 and 45 with a 4.49 ERA.
But you got to look at it from the last few seasons. I mean, look at the ERA. The last few seasons what's inflating it is his first 2 seasons in his year when he had 5.31 and then a 6. Since 2018, 3.60. This is ERA 3.60, 4.14, 3.35, 3.87, and 3.27. That's
Okay.
that. So it's just inflated by the first 2 years. He's been used more in a bulk role the last kind of 2 seasons in Philadelphia, and in the playoff run where you have to be at your best, he had 10 appearances. They had so much comfort in him. They had him go out there and pitch 10 times in the postseason, and 8 of them were scoreless. So he got the job done in the postseason when it matters as well. So he's also, interesting enough, he was the youngest starting pitcher on the free agency market. This is a very older free agency market for starting pitchers, and he was the youngest one. And a lot of people were like, well, why did the Rays give him that contract? Well, guess what? Boston gave him the same contract offer, and he chose the Rays over the Boston Red Sox. And he's also from Haggerty High School, which I believe is 2 hours.
He's a pitcher. Where would you rather pitch, Fenway or Tropicana Field?
It's still significant, I think, that a player has picked Tampa Bay over Boston.
Oh, sure, yeah.
I think it's a significant thing, but he's also a local kid. He's from Haggerty High School, which I believe that's up there in Orlando.
Yeah.
So that's a really good thing there. So I mean, we know here's my only problem with this. The Rays make all this commitment to another pitcher. I know the Rays are going to pitch well.
Yeah.
You want to know how I know that? Because in the playoffs, they did. They gave up 3 runs in 2 games. So the problem is they scored 1.
Right.
Now, I understand for this franchise, it's probably a bit harder to go and get a hitter in free agency. In fact, we really know that to be matter of fact at this point. So maybe they've tried, and there's just not much interest in coming here as a hitter. And that might be very true. And they might be, okay, well, we want to spend some kind of money. We wanted to get we wanted to get another arm into the rotation anyway. Let's go get this guy. So I get that. But this organization better have other moves lined up. If Zach Eflin, with all due respect, is the splash of the offseason, then I think this is going to be an underwhelming offseason. And that's nothing against Zach Eflin, because I think he's probably going to be a guy the Rays are going to make into, I mean, they do this with all the pitchers, but they've got to beef this lineup up.
Of course.
They've got to beef this lineup up.
And this is why this scares me a little bit. Because you know how you get a big return in terms of getting sluggers and adding to the offense? You trade your best player. And he just happens to have a $25 million price tag for next year.
I don't think that. This move to me doesn't tell me they're going to trade Tyler Glasnow. I don't see that happening. There's other moves they can make.
I know.
They can trade. Listen, they can move. I think they can
spend all that money on pitching and not address, because they know what I know and agents know, and you've heard Jason Romano talk about this. Free agents, sluggers, do not want to play at Tropicana Field. They don't. They don't. They will go other places. It's a death knell for sluggers and hitters to come here and play. It's hard to hit here. The lighting is bad. The ball doesn't carry. The numbers say that. And then you're going to be on your feet if you're an outfielder. And even infielders have trouble with the surface and the turf.
Yeah.
So they're going to have to trade to get offense.
Well, I thought this was
interesting. Who are you going to trade on this roster to bring in more offense?
Well, here's something that's interesting is, and of course, all this maybe, but there's also other little moves they can make to like free up more money, which of course this is always going to be the
first of all,
thing.
they don't need to free up money. They got money.
Okay, but they just
cash.
Okay, but take that out of the equation for the second, because it doesn't matter at this point, because they're not using that money. We get it. Right now, you have to go off the money that they have for a payroll, and that's usually somewhere between 60 and 90 million. So they just added a good chunk of it back onto it.
They get to 90 million.
They just added a big chunk of it onto there. So there are players.
They added 11 million. It's less than they were paying Kiermaier last year.
Well, for the Rays, it's a chunk.
It's 11 million this year, 11 million next year, and then they trade him in the next season when he makes 18.
Probably.
Right, of course. So it's only 11 million. Everybody, it's the biggest contract ever. It's 11 million for a starting pitcher. Everybody else pisses that out. let's not. I know that it's written in the Times like it's the biggest contract, and they're spending wildly, but they're not. It's $11 million for a average pitcher. Let's hope he's better.
I would say he's an average.
It's setting up being able to trade Tyler Glass now.
Well, I would appreciate if the Rays would just come out and say it.
We're not trading Tyler Glass now.
Yeah, I'd love to just hear it because there's obviously a lot of speculation about it. I'd love to them saying we're not going to do it.
But again, how are they going to get sluggers? How are they going to get anybody?
There's other moves they can make. They can trade if they really wanted to. But I mean, look at some of the guys that we thought.
Who are they going to trade to bring in more offense? Who's looking at our Wander Franco? Okay, we're not trading him. Randy Arozarena, fine. If you can get me another hitter, I'm fine because clearly chemistry wise with he and Yandy, that ain't working.
I mean, you're gonna have to unload some of your prospects. And again, how comfortable?
Well, please do.
How comfortable are the Rays doing that? Given that they had to expose like 5 or 6 of them that they covet to the Rule 5, I don't know. Well, that remains to be seen. I mean, it's still early.
Very early.
It's very early. There's not a lot of moves being made right now. I mean, Jose Abreu, by the way, who I would have loved to have seen in Tampa Bay. Am I going to blame the guy? He went to Houston. I mean, what are you going to do? I mean, that to me is
get richer.
It's probably likely that's what's happening. I would honestly say the Rays probably inquired on him, but the big teams are always going to take these guys. Just the way it goes. So they're going to have to get in the trade market if they want to improve this offense.
All right. Listen, I hope that's true, but I'm more fearful that you're adding pitching to a pitching heavy team. But we knew they would go after a veteran starter, and this looks like. I mean, the numbers aren't overwhelming, but I will trust the Rays. They normally find guys and make them better, especially pitchers.
Yeah, I don't have any worry in that.
And it's not that much money. I mean, I'm just like, and like I said on Twitter, I said, I'm glad they didn't go after DeGrom. You silly people thought that they were actually going after DeGrom and Aaron Judge. I don't know. Like you call me crazy for talking about Dion to USF. You people are talking about Aaron Judge and Jacob DeGrom being signed by the Rays for $45 million. You're
Here you go.
Freaking mind.
Here you go. Jeremy Lowe is speaking my language right here. Bring Longo home. That's your splash in free agency.
That's your splash. A 260 hitter.
I'm all for it.
14 home runs this year. That's your splash.
I'm all for it. I'm going to keep saying it.
We're still paying him $5 million a year. Why not? Okay, if we're going to pay him, we might as well bring him home. I mean, no. I don't get the Longo thing.
You're a hater.
We
spent all this love talking about Stamkos and appreciating our legends here, and Longo is every bit a legend as all these other guys, and you're not appreciating him today. Not appreciating him today. You know darn well you would have a nice smile on your face hearing that violin play again in Tropicana Field. You know darn well you would enjoy it. Don't tell me you wouldn't.
But I'm looking for something a little bit more.
Yeah, they can do other things. They can do other things. I just would love to have that added on. I would love. This is an add-on. This is just an add-on.
Why do we just always shopping at Walmart?
I think a lot of the fans are a little discouraged by what's going on. This would be a nice move to kind of get some good PR. It'd be great. You can't deny that. The Longo jerseys will be back out and about. They'll sell a bunch of merchandise again.
What did our guy say the other day we didn't get to that was on here? There was a Jordan or somebody. They went to the Rays team store and they were having some type of sale, but they took all the good jerseys.
All of the throwback jerseys, I think, because the throwbacks are very popular.
Yeah. So they were having some sale and they took all the throwbacks off, like just cheap jerks that they are. I'm sorry. I just sell the team, please. All right, what else do we have here? Do we want to get to bring Longo home? Leadership and DH hitter. Oh, okay. Well, don't we need a lefty though? Don't we need a lefty?
They badly need a lefty. Which is, I mean, again, if they can find, if in free agency, if there's one of two guys that I would love to see come here as a lefty profile for what the Rays need, Cody Bellinger would be fantastic. I think Joey Gallo would be fantastic, to be honest, as well. If either of those two guys are willing to come here.
I would love that.
I think Gallo would honestly be willing because coming from the pressure cooker that was New York, where he just struggled mightily, maybe he would like to get away from a little bit from the bright lights.
Yeah, I would hope that, but I just have no.
It's hard to have faith in somebody, and he says Josh Bell down here, Jeremy Lowe. Josh Bell to me is going to get a large contract from one of these big teams, and I don't think the Rays are going to be in on that, unfortunately.
All right, we had some Todd Bowles audio that we were going to do. We still haven't played the Brady stuff.
We could do another hour, honestly, today. There was
really
just
could.
so much.
What you've got? I know we didn't do all the Stamkos post from last night, but That's up on the Lightning website. Is there a Bowls clip here that you like the most? The Bowls on the defensive meeting. How about we play number 11? This was, and this is just kind of, we've done so much on Top Bowls this week. I get it, and I hope we perform better. But this game's going to be a disaster. I don't see how we score any points, especially when we have a coach that is this conservative. It's going to be very, very difficult.
No, we just hadn't made the plays we were supposed to make.
And your thoughts on them taking the initiative to do that?
That's what leaders do. If something's wrong, they try and fix it.
Does that need to happen with the offensive players?
That's up to them for it to happen. They spend a lot of time in the cafeteria eating together and doing things that way. It's not a matter of closeness. It's just a matter of executing.
It all kind of rings hollow, doesn't it? Here's a number. Let's play number 10, Bowls. Do Brady and Evans need more practice time? Obviously they do, but we gave them last week off.
I'm only laughing because this answer is going to come and go real quick right here.
Right.
They get more than enough work in together. They get a lot of work in together.
There you go. Up yours, whoever asked the question.
I gave them the whole week off.
Clearly not, Todd.
Because we
were
were clicking so well in Germany and Seattle. They needed the week off because we don't need the practice. Look at this offense; it's just clicking on all cylinders. Why should we practice for 3 days?
What work do they get in? These practices aren't exactly killing.
Let me just tell you this: if they are practicing a lot of one-on-ones together, boy,
what? Yesterday,
those guys suck. They're not very talented. If they're practicing together a lot, they're not very talented. The two of them.
Yeah.
I don't know. Who's this Brady guy? Who's this Evans guy? What tells me that either one of them are talented? Why? Come on. Of course they're not.
I don't know. Which, by the way, this whole week is
that's sarcasm.
This whole week has thrown me off with the Monday night game. The schedule is do we have Brady and Leftwich today? Because we usually have them on Thursdays.
Yeah, it is different.
It's today.
Moves up. Yeah. So Brady and Leftwich will be today.
Can't wait. Cannot wait.
Yeah, it should be fun. I think I'll go over and enjoy some of the banter there today for sure. How about Bowls on Donovan Smith's play, number 9? That's a good one. Because it's Cam Jordan time.
Game plan, we had some things in place that didn't get done for one reason or the other, but we got to coach it better and we got to play it better. He's had some good games. He had some not so good games, but, we trust him. We expect him to come out and play well Monday.
Yeah, I don't.
That was the question, why didn't you give any help to Donovan?
Yeah,
and they gave him help a couple times, but for the most part, that was a bad matchup. And that's one of the things we talk about the coaching staff. Clearly they thought that Evans on MJ Everson was a great matchup, but you could tell early on in the game that it wasn't.
No.
And then you have to adjust. Okay, that was part of our game plan. Clearly, either Mike's head's not in the game or, he had 9 targets and 2 catches. After about 4 or 5 targets, I think it was pretty clear that he ain't shaking that guy.
Yeah.
And it's not a great win chance. So what's your next thing in the game plan?
Yeah, it's just very odd. I think Chris Godwin, by the way, has more targets than Mike Evans this year, and I think he's missed 2 games, and then he had the injuries too. And he still has more targets than Mike Evans, who's been.
And was Godwin 8 for 8 on targets? I think he was.
In this last game?
Yeah.
I thought he had 11 catches in this game.
Yeah, he would. And maybe it was the previous.
He caught
game.
nearly everything.
I think he was 8 for 8 at one point in the game. And he kept throwing the ball to Mike Evans.
Yeah, and when they get in the red zone, by the way, there was always those design plays for Mike down in the red zone. Where have those gone? The guy had 27 touchdowns the last 2 years with Tom Brady, and he's got 3 this year. 3, and he hasn't had one since week 3 against week 4 against Kansas City. He hasn't had one since then.
Yeah. It's completely bizarre.
But they get enough work in, though.
But they get enough work. They have plenty of work.
Nothing's wrong, everybody. Nothing's wrong.
To see here. We got to coach it better. We got to play it better. And that's
God, I can't wait to hear that today.
That's for damn sure. All right. We'll say have a happy weekend. Go find a tree that's less than $300. Clearly, they're not at Lowe's. The Brooksville Tree Farm looks like where I'm headed for $50 to put up the tree tonight. Good weekend for that, but a great weekend for college football. The Lightning will honor Steven Stamkos on Saturday night for his 1,000th point. The Bucs play on Monday night, so we have all Sunday to watch other football or play golf or do whatever you like.
You got to mention my UCF Knights as you go out here.
Yes, that's right. UCF, 4:00 against the Green Wave of Tulane.
Get me to Arlington. Get me to Arlington.
And then on Sunday, Sunday is Dion Day.
Yes, so it's gonna be a fun show on Monday.
It's Prime Day. It's Prime Day on Sunday. Boy, Monday's gonna be a great. Might have to do a special show on Sunday. So keep your notifications open on our. We may have to do a special show. All right, have a great weekend, everybody. Merry Christmas. We'll talk to you on Monday.